yeah.
Have you ever seen the rain?
You ever looked in the mirror? Are you
Dude, we
good?
got this. The smoke just hit right when I sing like that. I inhaled a bunch.
Yeah.
And then what is this wood?
Palo Santo.
Yeah, Palo Santo fumes just shot right into my mouth and my nose. Yeah, it's cleansing my...
Burning the demons out of you.
Burn the demons.
You ever looked
losing control?
Losing control. You ever looked into a mirror and not recognize yourself?
I've scared myself a couple times.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, just kind of because I'm like, what was that? And I look and it was the mirror. And
when I look at you, I get scared sometimes.
Yeah, everybody says that. Like I have this, not the bitch resting face, but I have this like mean face. I think I kind of just am serious. Like when I'm trying to pay attention because I have this supposedly ADD or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I like get real serious. Like you'll see me. I'll either look to the side over here.
The eyebrows come.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm really trying to pay attention.
And you get those two lines right above the nose. Yeah.
So and then I look mean, I guess.
No, you don't scare me.
I'm a big teddy bear.
Yeah, you are a big teddy bear with tattoos. Big tattooed teddy bear.
Yeah.
Can we talk about... I
don't want to harm anything.
Can we not lose face here by going
Not
off
even
on
a
rant?
gnat, bro. Not even a gnat.
We're losing face with our audience. Their audio recognition algorithm is dropping away.
How do we lose control of our faces?
That's a great question. You know how we lost control? When the moment we stopped asking for consent. That's it. That's what it boils down to. Where did, can you give me a little history here on when facial recognition started? 1970 something with mugshots?
Yeah, 1964. Mathematician and computer scientist Woodrow Bledsoe first attempted task of matching suspect's face to mugshots.
Any relation to Drew Bledsoe?
Ooh, that would be
interesting. Is it a football player?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's a
I don't watch football. I just hear people say this stuff.
Yeah, the quarterback. He measured out the distance between different facial features and printed photographs and fed them in a computer program. This is 1964, bro. Mm-hmm. His rudimentary successes would set off decades of research into teaching machines to recognize human faces. Geometry's
geometry, right? Like you had set rules on how geometry works.
Right.
Okay, so if I'm looking at geometry of faces, you know, that's an isosceles, this eye to here to the tip of the nose. I mean, like, there you go.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's really not that complicated. The complicated part is what happens when you get a crap image. Or it's it's fuzzy, or there's too much shadowing on a face. Well, what do you do with partial geometry?
I think we need to look in the philosophy of surveillance too. Surveillance. Yeah.
Surveillance.
Surveillance. There we go.
My name is Surveillance.
Yeah. But when you think of this against our will, because we're walking down a street and then a camera follows us because an AI recognizes my face to be something that is of an interest.
Yeah.
Now we start to get into this polluted cesspool of human rights, which is number 3.
I know Amnesty International was trying to talk about this with the issues in New York City. But the key driving thing here is there's no consent. This is how I look at this. If someone's a criminal, they've broken the law.
Right.
When you break a law, you lose freedoms.
Right.
No consent's happening there at that point. When I look at this, like you can scan for people that have essentially given you consent by breaking the law.
Why don't you give a clear explanation on the city council and then you ask the
citizens? Why can't the citizens ask that this is what they want?
That's why I hate some of the states. Like this state is especially, it drives me nuts. Washington State has this, and that's how they've legalized.
You don't hate it.
A lot of drugs and stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
But I'm trying to be over dramatized on this, but this whole initiative process, and then allowing the people to bring in, if they get enough signatures. It's like Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. They have enough signatures to kick him out because he done such a horrible job in leadership.
I wouldn't know. Yeah, but
with California and people are moving out in droves and taxes are going up and homeless is, there's just so many things that are happening in that beautiful. I mean, probably I have to give it to them. California is probably the most beautiful state
it's huge
in the country.
Too. That whole coast.
I mean, it has everything.
Yeah.
So whenever you look at the right of the people, and then we look at number 3 in our big 7, human rights.
Well, you have a
TARTLE.
Right to choice.
Yes.
Okay. If I want to step out into public to show my face, I made that choice. Did I not? If someone's going to install some sort of security protocol, can we all decide on it? I don't want a police state.
Yes.
All right. where people are just, putting more stuff in here.
Well, the responsibility does not lie in that government that you elected to decide what they're going to do with your will.
No, the responsibility is beholden to the people who live within that state to decide what they want for their own security. So the second you've really stepped away in this world of big data and analysis of facial geometries at mass and not asking for consent, that's a problem.
Right.
Where you're not respecting a human being at that point. You just think you can do whatever. Just because the technology's there and the camera's up doesn't mean you should be using it because it's there. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think this Deborah Raji, she was a fellow at nonprofit Mozilla.
Yeah, Mozilla.
Which we know. Yeah, this is very, very interesting. She advised members of Congress on the algorithmic accountability. She looked at over 130 facial recognition data sets
and
compiled over 43 years. So she's looking at good data.
She's looking at a lot of data.
Yeah. They found that researchers, driven by the exploding data requirements of deep learning, gradually abandoned asking for people's consent.
Yeah, because it becomes...
Do you use the word gradual? I like this.
You know what they... What's that idea?
Cooking the frog by slowly turning up the heat?
Yeah, or you stepped over the line.
Yes.
But the thing is, you've taken so many steps, and you thought they were small steps, and you turn around and you're like, I'm a mile away from any sort of moral compass I should have been on. You know what I mean?
Be on the ocean and try that.
Yeah.
See if your calculations are wrong. See if you hit that island.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was, where was Christopher Columbus? Where do you think he was at when he discovered?
Oh, I don't. Yeah,
he thought he was somewhere way else. Yeah,
like some middle islands, but really he was. Doesn't matter. I don't know my history that well, I guess. But here's the point: you've towed away so far, and you say, what if we just go a little bit? We don't have to ask. We're cutting edge. Can we retweak this a little bit? You think we can pull a little bit more data in? If the government and the people don't know about it, is it really morally wrong for us to do it or use it? This is a good question. If people have no concept of it. At all, completely unaware, does it still mean you should be doing it? I've always thought to myself, as I've, developed in my ego, consciousness, all these things, trying to be a good human being, it's not what you do when people are looking. It's what you do when people aren't looking.
Yeah.
I think that defines the quality of who I am as a human being, at least one aspect of it.
Yeah. And we look at our president and vice president that we have now that we elected, and we see all these criminal heavy duty, because they were more like police state type. Like at TARTLE, we're neither Republican, Democrat, we're not any of that. But when we see bullshit, we call it out. But they had made all of these where they incarcerated a lot of African Americans, which 90% of our population off of, bullshit, war on drugs, marijuana, and stuff like this. So now you got a guy that committed rape and he goes in for 18 years, which is taking the free will, of a woman. And then you have a guy that's in, because he had a kilo of coke, he's in for 50 years. Doesn't make sense. So let me ask you this.
Does not weigh right.
So now you take, I'm going somewhere. Now you take these deep learning machines and you throw in all the pictures of all the pictures of all the bullshit people that are incarcerated.
Yeah.
So now you have 90% of people that are incarcerated are male African Americans. So now you just turn the machine into a racist, sexist.
Because you're feeding the algorithm with bad data. Because it's bad data because it's biased.
Yes, there we go.
You're front loading these machines. And how many years of data did she go through?
43 years.
She went through 43 years of data that didn't use any consent, and it's only built out biases in the system. So they're very efficient at being biased.
Right.
Okay? And they're very good at not asking people for permission. It's really...
Well, she said this. She says, now we don't care anymore. And all of that has been abandoned. She says, you just can't keep track of a million faces. After a certain point, you can't even pretend that you have control.
I have trouble keeping track of my 2 dogs running around.
Yes.
You think I have trouble remembering 500 faces. I think there's they've tested limits on how many faces somebody can recognize or remember. I don't think it's that much. What are you going to do with a million faces? At that point, you're completely beholden to the software and the servers processing it.
What if the government came and said, the federal government came and said, let's do a test study on this, and let's find a city that the people will agree that we can do this, and we're going to incentivize the city for doing this case study, and we need it. We need the city to be, 60, 70% extremely diverse, but I mean, maybe have a 60-70% population of
Why are
African
you
Americans.
describing utopias to me?
Yeah, and so then the people say, yes, we agree to this. This will help the city out. We're on board with this. So now we're going to be able to learn. So now we know we have issues with lighting, especially with darker faces.
Yep.
And we know that we have issues with the machine learning being, extremely biased towards African males.
Yep.
So we look at that and we say, oh, okay, well, let's get a group of scientists together, make it open source, and let's take our best scientists. Let's look at how we can elevate human rights. That's our number one priority.
Correct.
How can we elevate human rights? How can we prevent false arrests and all these other things? And then from that point, coming from that, clear and concise, focused point of elevating human rights.
Yeah.
Now that test bed becomes something that can be used and implemented throughout the world.
Right.
If the citizens choose to do so.
So should we have like a deep learning system right now? We're going to write our own. We're going to do a deep learning thing that tests against biases.
Yes.
I want you to deep learn biases.
Yeah,
okay?
that would be interesting.
And I want you to highlight them all and then tell me where we remove that from the algorithm.
No, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to have a machine that understands all the biases, that have done historical context on each bias, and then knows exactly to call the bullshit out and tell us what bias that. Like, it could read a white paper and then give you the biases in the white paper.
Yeah.
That would be so cool, bro.
This is 60% bias, and we're going to show you every single point where it actually has a bias in it, where there's actually no objective nature.
Yes.
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I think you just
think about how many books people would just not read.
Oh, yeah. They could just shove it through there, and then you get like the cliff notes of,
yeah.
Well, exterminate that chapter, that chapter, that chapter, that chapter.
Exterminate.
Yeah.
Your words today, you're on fire.
No, that's what I always like to think of it that way. Like, exterminate. Next. The flamethrower.
The thing is, we have so many books that we go through.
Oh, yeah. It's endless.
I mean, if you're here at the studio, we got.
I just bought one on Edison this morning.
How'd that go?
Well, see, I have this problem. So here's machine learning at its best. There's this website I signed up for, and they ask what books you love.
Okay.
This is for Kindle. So this and then from there, so I love history, I love autobiographies, I love military history, I love ancient Greece history. You get really detailed. I love leadership books, nonfiction, spiritual books, all these things. So then every morning it sends me an email and serves me up Kindle books that are $1.99 or less. That normally were like $20 or $30 or $10 at my categories that I love.
It's great.
I guarantee you I probably buy, because I'm like, it's $1.99, it's $1.99. I guarantee I buy 3 or 4 books a week off of Kindle, and my Kindle has 3,000 or 4,000 books in it, and I can't read that in my lifetime.
No.
So, but I still buy them. Like today I bought an Edison book because, I want to know kind of a little bit more about Thomas Edison.
You're a hoarder.
A hoarder of books. I'm fine with that.
I like hoarding books.
I'm fine with that.
Most of my preference of books, if we're talking about book preference, books that are out of print.
Oh, yeah.
Most of the books I always want to read are ones you can't get in print anymore.
I listened to that
stuff.
Navy SEAL guy, Jocko Willink, and he's into books too, and he loves he calls it the first edition. He wants that first edition, or he's like even the ones that you can get into where it's the publisher puts them out like 100 copies.
Yeah.
For certain people to read and kind of look at it, like the giveaway ones, the first 100. He even wants those.
Ooh, juicy.
And then if you get one of those and it's signed by the author,
get out. That's over the moon. That's over the moon.
People get into this.
So what do they? So can we continue here?
Faces and books.
Yeah, faces and books. How does so then?
What was the Game of Thrones? The No Faces place? Wasn't there a temple that she went to? The girl with the sword?
Something of the black and white or...
Yeah, I remember that when there was the faces and then she could change her face?
Anytime she wanted.
Yeah.
This would be a problem for this algorithm.
Yeah, what if we have shapeshifters?
Well, we've seen... Yeah.
Oh, that's funny, bro. Would we be able to finally catch reptilians? Bro, think about it.
Is Justin Bieber a reptilian?
Yeah, the AI all of a sudden catches them when they come out the corner at that Beverly Hills house. They come out the corner and then it shows like this long
scales.
Yeah, we finally caught him, David Icke.
Oh my gosh, all right,
we got to be done.
Calm.
With it.
Clear the air.
How we lost control, bro. Not just of our faces. Face Off. Yeah. Remember that movie with John Travolta? Okay, we're out.